And we are live. What is up, guys? What's up, Eric? How you doing, man?
I'm good, dude. How you doing?
Good, man. I'm wearing my Mets hat for your dock launch.
Oh man, I appreciate that. I'm wearing a non-baseball hat as usual, but
Yeah. Hey, actually, will you grab me that hat off the rack?
Oh, you got one of my hats?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Just switch it up like every 2 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Man. Yeah, man. How's it going? What's new? It's been a minute.
So much, dude. Yeah, it's just been keeping up with all the craziness of Project 2020 and behind the scenes making a lot of adjustments in the studio with, the process of not only like making the cards, but getting them out to my fans, my patrons, and doing a lot of Patreon content. Yeah.
Nice. That's amazing.
Moving into the new studio this week as well.
There we go. Test. Okay, good.
Cheers, everybody from Brooklyn.
Cheers.
Cheers, Eric.
I think, do we have more in here? Because this one's really empty.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, we do. Okay, great.
Is that Tony in the background?
Yeah, Tony's here.
What's up, Tony?
Andy's here. Andy's over here on the throne. Let's see, we have this pretty epic chair that he's sitting in. And then Matt is straight across from me at his desk. Yeah, man. So stoked to talk tonight. I think a lot of cool stuff to catch up on. And so the main thing, one of the main things, anyone that's watching, is you can get the Doc Gooden card by Efdot, available only until tomorrow around noon, 1 o'clock Eastern. The link is down below this video. There's nothing else in the description. Just click that one link and buy some cards. Should be awesome.
I just gotta say, man, it's so cool that you're getting other artists to come on here every week and just helping people promote their cards. I wasn't able to tune in live to watch Gregory last night, but I watched afterwards. And
we had a blast.
Yeah, man, you're doing so much for us, and I appreciate it.
Thanks, man. Well, we got to help each other, man. We're a family.
Yeah, but we didn't. It's like the real world, we didn't plan to be a family. It just happened.
Totally, man. Totally. Well, shoot, man. Let's get into it. Let's, you want to walk us through the doc, like the process. I saw the creation video. I thought it was amazing. What I loved seeing is how you had everything like, I don't know if it was a giant piece of paper or if it was, some other surface, but you were, doing analog, testing out the different things that you were going to eventually put digitally on the card through the iPad. So like, tell us about, like, is that what you usually do? Are you usually drawing it analog first with some of the stuff, or?
I like to get off the screen while I'm sketching.
Yeah.
I feel like my ideas flow a little better. And then also you're more likely to have accidents. And then you combine ideas by accident, or, even just working on a large piece of paper for me helps because I can see everything at once versus being on layers where you can't see everything. So I usually do start out like that. And I have my friend there, my teammate, George, who is now helping me with some video content. He was just there lurking. So I was like, hey, check this out. I'm going to fill this whole page with ideas. And a lot of those ideas came straight from the Patreon. So with each card, I'm doing a brainstorming post. So I'll just say like, all right, brainstorming post, like time to work on the Doc Gooden card. And I was supposed to do the doc like weeks ago, actually. So I had a bunch of ideas already in the bank. Top set up my schedule. So I had a few things already going, but then the Patreon has grown. So I wanted to give the new people a chance to give ideas. And so here's the finished card I had on my iPad right here.
Sick.
And this is something I didn't share yet, but you know how I can recap the whole process.
Yeah, you can do the time lapse kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm not sure how long this will be, but here. So that's like already. There we go. So I guess
Sick.
Right around here, I already had the mask done.
Yeah.
In this file. And
so cool.
Yeah, that's the K corner.
I love how you put F-Doc in the top as well.
Yeah, I was able to get Doc on the phone thanks to you guys, thanks to Tony hooking it up.
Yeah.
And
awesome.
He was into the idea of just calling it like the F-Doc card. So I was like, all right, let's just put it on there.
That's awesome.
So a bunch of different ideas that like some of them made it in there, like the stethoscope idea.
Yeah.
Ended up like getting a little bit more hidden, like wrapping around his neck. There's New York State, which maybe you didn't see that, but
Yeah.
As a shadow on his shirt.
That's sick.
I started bringing in like other photos of Doc.
Dude, this is amazing. You know, it's so crazy. Like, I've never really done digital, but I would love to transition. I would love to like try it because like having an undo button is not something I have with a can of spray paint. And you know that because you paint and spray paint too. And like, you know, it's opaque enough that we can paint over it. But I just think that like the possibilities and also like, you know, like here, like sometimes you see you like trying something and then taking it out and then putting it back in. Like you just can't really do that with, you know, straight analog painting.
Yeah, not as easily for sure.
I love the blob hands too.
I want to do another card like that, like the maze card that has, it almost looks like it got tagged.
Yeah.
But I ended up not using them. It was just like, I wanted to leave space for autographs too, especially because Doc's doing his own series of these.
Yeah.
That's about almost at the end there. I'm just going to fast forward. I ended up putting Mr. Met in there at the last second as a flaming fireball. And that's the last one.
Dude, that's amazing. I love it. So you guys have about 14 hours or something to buy that card. Link down below this video. And I don't know if I think Tony mentioned something about some giveaways, right? If we should do that, and we should incentivize people to buy the card between right now and 1 p.m. tomorrow when it ends. Maybe we can do some giveaway stuff here on the stream, which would be great. Let's see here. So my questions were on that phone. Oh, actually, hold on. I can pull it up right here. Sorry, I can pull it up right here.
Someone was asking about like having me explain all the Easter eggs, and I go back and forth about this. I feel like the Easter eggs are supposed to be like a hunt, right?
Yeah.
So I don't want to explain every single one because then it takes fun out of it, and like when you get it in hand, everything's already explained. So I think this is true throughout all my cards. Like even if you see me explaining the Easter eggs, like there's always at least one that I didn't explain.
Yeah.
And that's on you to find it, basically.
Yeah. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Okay, cool. So I did get the questions up. Okay, so food for the front line. So I recently did a Mark McGuire card and Beckett combo auction. We did it on eBay. And I partnered with Brian Gonzalez and Viking Global Foundation, which I believe reached out to you, right? They're also talking to you as well.
Brian Gonzalez?
Yeah. Awesome. Because I know like you had done some really cool charity stuff, and like like I hit you up to say like, yo, what was it like doing Instagram auction versus a YouTube versus an eBay auction? And we ended up going with eBay literally because of your feedback. So I really appreciated that. But talk to us about anything you've got going on with charity stuff, whether it's stuff that you've already done or stuff in the future or stuff that you would like to do.
Sure. Yeah. So charity work is something that I think we all have to do as much as we feel comfortable with. Right. So even if you're like, I don't know, a few years ago, I didn't have much savings at all, but I still felt it was important to volunteer my time, give a little bit of money here and there. And now I feel like because of this project, I'm able to make some bigger moves and actually create partnerships with charities where I'm in touch with them and we're coming up with ideas, not just for donations, but for actual projects together. Yeah. And so with these cards, I've been getting more creative with them. I did a whole campaign for Color of Change.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was the one.
This was during right when the Black Lives Matter protests started happening. And I just felt like I don't know how else to do this besides just like give my art away to this cause and then see how much money it can raise. So I did some original pieces and some signed and numbered prints that were from my archive, just like auctioned them off through Instagram mostly, which we talked about was like kind of inefficient because right when the auction ends, the post is still up there and people can still commenting.
People are commenting. Yeah, it's just hard to manage. Yeah.
eBay is probably better for that stuff.
I
tried to do it in Patreon, same problem. So, but yeah, like we raised $10,000 in 3 days for Color of Change. Amazing. And then there was some extra after that. So I just like kept selling those drawings. This one behind me, right?
You got one. Yeah. You got one. Yeah. The 12.
That's
the 12 by 12. Yeah.
The little drawings that I do, they're 8 by 8. I want
8 by 8. Okay.
Yeah. Just because people are watching, I don't want to get
it. Sorry. My bad.
They're small enough for me to send out in a flat mailer. And yeah, they've been really fun for me to make because I can make them in batches and they're each like a little bit unique. And so I sold those starting really low, and I've been raising the price just because I felt like I undercharged myself. They're still available on my site right now, but I decided to take off the charity element until I set up this new partnership. So my new partnership that I'm working on. Oh yeah. Well, one more thing about the last one was we did Color of Change, and then we also did a donation to the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum with the Jackie Robinson card. So that was really cool. Like a Kansas City Monarchs red color for one of the autos, and that was like a donation to.
Well, I love how you had the KC too, like down in the card too. Like that was amazing. That was a great Easter egg. Not like
the
cards are so cool, man. Like I've liked them all, but like I love just seeing the evolution and how much like they're growing, you know, and I think that and mine too, like all the artists, like we're really, I don't know, I see what everyone else is doing, and I'm like excited to try and step my game up, and I feel like everyone's kind of on the same page as far as like, it's just awesome to see the progress, man. It's really, really cool.
Yeah. I wonder like how many artists have already finished all of them and they're just like sitting back, taking on other projects. Because some of them are less vocal.
Sure.
And like even someone like Keith Shore, where he's not as vocal as some of the other people. And like I like to think about it like a classroom where you got like your class clown and then you got your shy people in the corner. It was like
am I the class clown in this case?
Maybe, yeah. I don't know. One of us is.
Yeah.
So you know, we don't mind the attention, and we don't mind showing our face every once in a while and like talking about the art instead of just making it and then sort of slipping underneath the crack in the door.
Yeah, dude, it's so funny. That analogy just reminded me of this old story that my mom told me from like when I was a little kid in school, where I was always talking to my neighbor and, you know, making friends with whoever I was sitting next to, and so the teacher would keep moving me and like, you know, to a new seat, so I wasn't next to a friend, and then I would make a new friend. And my mom told me like some story about how my teacher like had like a conference with her about saying like, yeah, we keep moving Blake and telling him not to talk, but he keeps making new friends. And like, and then she asked me about it. I was like, yeah, I love everybody I sit next to. Like I just talked to them and they were friends. So yeah, it's interesting to see different artists and how their approach to, you know, the hobby and the whole community is different. You know, respect what everyone's doing, but I'm having so much fun, like engaging with everyone, engaging with you guys, you know, the other artists. It's just like, it's beyond my wildest expectations for what this project would be. And I'm just trying to soak it all in. And I see my dad just posted, my mom's in here too. What's up, Mom and Dad?
Hey, Jamiesons.
Yeah,
I agree, man. I heard you talking with Gregory about that last night of how everyone's just stepping their game up and trying different things. And I think for me, like when I did my first two cards, the McGuire and the Mays card, I didn't do it like that much research in terms of like storytelling. Like I found out that like Willie Mays' nickname, the Say Hey Kid, and some of his stats and everything. And McGuire, even less research. I grew up, you know, watching the whole McGuire saga, but I feel like I was overdue. Like there was a decade where I wasn't super into baseball.
Sure. No, I mean, for sure. Me too, man. I probably took close to 2 decades off, really. You know, I grew up on it with my dad and then fell out of it for a while. Like I played t-ball and played a little bit of baseball, but like I couldn't sit still for that long. And so I was getting into like, you know, I played soccer where like you're just running around the whole time. And like, that's the type of sport that I needed for my personality. And yeah, I'm so glad that this project has brought me back to the baseball. And I'm excited, you know, although we're going to get a short season and it's going to be a little different than the baseball season we've seen in the past. Like I'm excited for baseball to start again. And yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, same here, man. For me, it was skateboarding that I found that kind of took me away from baseball. And that was what I needed at the time. Like no rules, no teams, no score, just individualistic expression. And it's almost more like dance than it is like a sport where you keep score. And I love it. I still skateboard today, but now baseball and skateboarding are like two of my big passions. And this hobby of card collecting and card making is up there too. I think I'm going to continue to be like at least following it. If I'm not designing cards for more like my whole career, like I'll be following it for a long time. For sure. It's like I have there's so much nuance to it Like you look at a card and some parts of it are super classic, like the wood border on the McGuire. Like I didn't know about that. I forgot about that, I guess. Yeah. So there's different things that I'm sinking my teeth into, and I'm really enjoying it. And then the research, of course, like there's a balance though. You can't just keep putting more and more and more on the card. Like it's like a cake decoration contest at that point. And it needs to be clear and have a stance. Like someone told me that I should have put the mask on Jackie Robinson or like put more stuff on the Doc Gooden card. And it's like, you can't overcrowd it because then it loses something. It loses some of the pop, right?
Well, man, I've learned in this project and in life, you can't please everyone. There's always going to be somebody that wants to change something about your art, but that's the fun part. And I think if we're not sparking enough conversation where at least some people for me, like I want some people to hate my art, and that's okay. Like I want to be that, like, because that's the discussion. And I think that's what's important. So we had a question here from Todd Clark. He wants to know about your skateboard deck and what was your setup.
Sure. Yeah. Todd is awesome. He won a giveaway that I did in my Patreon last week. So he got a free autograph card.
Yeah.
And so Todd, my setup for my skateboard, I'm not super picky about the brand, honestly. I care more about the size of the board and the shape of the board. I like cruiser skateboards. I broke my ankle a few years back and had a couple surgeries on it that I can't skate like I used to. So I like to ride kind of a half cruiser board, half street board with like big wheels. They're still hard wheels. They're not soft wheels. Like I can still slide around, but that's my setup. I wear independent trucks, Spitfire wheels.
Nice.
Yeah. I think it's cool that
so my dad also commented down below saying that telling people I used to go to parking valets to valet my skateboard, which is true. So I moved to LA in 2012 and I was working in digital marketing at the time. And I decided to come up with this policy, which I was kind of like known for in the industry, where like I wouldn't take an in-person meeting that I couldn't skateboard to, because driving to LA was just a nightmare. And so like I had a car, but like I only used that if I needed to go on road trips. I basically literally I was like, we can either do a Zoom call, or if it's as long as it's somewhere I can skateboard to, then I'll come meet you in person. And so I would go to places and I was riding Arbor. I love the Arbor boards. They're so nice, and they're like sustainably made, and they're based in Venice. And so I could go into like the Arbor HQ and buy the boards. I don't remember the truck and wheel setup, but they were definitely pretty big wheels, but just skating down and mostly like longboard stuff, even though I had like some like shorter boards in terms of length, but they were still like longboards. It's not like I wouldn't take it in the skateboard. Cruiser. Yeah, sure. Okay. Cruiser. So I had one that was like, it was shaped like a peanut, and I just loved it so much. I actually still have it. It's in at my dad's house in California, my mom's house. But yeah, I would like skate down to like the Bungalow, which was this kind of hip, it was attached to a hotel, but it was like a swanky little outdoor bar with pool tables and ping pong and like way too expensive drinks. But I'd take meetings there, and I would go, and I started to know the valets, and I'd be like, I would pay whatever the valet for a car cost, but I would just have them hold my board so I didn't have to carry it around in the bar. And then I would tip them well. So like they all knew me. Like I'd come skating in. They're like, hello, Mr. Jamieson. We'll take your transportation. Which, yeah, exactly.
That's cool.
Which is awesome. Let's see. We could show this. I guess it's not hyperlinked in the thing. So again, guys, and I'm going to say this a bunch of times during the stream, but you have like 14 hours to buy Efdot's card. Right down below this link, or down below this video, is the link to it. It would be awesome if you get some, support living artists, all that jazz. Sweet, man. Let's see what else we got. Let's see. So Tony, do you want to ask your own your own questions? Do you want to pop in for this?
Of course.
Okay, cool. Yeah. All
Love
right.
collaboration.
And we're gonna slide in. I'll actually let me switch spots with you, because I'm gonna use the restroom, then I'll come back and I'll sit right here. Okay, go for it.
What's up, Eric?
Dude. All Yankeed out right now.
Yeah. Like, can you give me the other one? The other hat.
That one?
Yeah, I don't like that. All right. What's going on?
Switch hats.
All right, we're switching hats. So, a lot of people know this story. I met Blake. Blake, do you know this story? Met Blake April 6th. But I got involved in Project 2020 because I saw Eric do his Don Mattingly. So that was the first card you did, right, Eric? But you still haven't released it yet.
That was the first card that I started sketching on, but now I feel like I got to revisit it and redo it almost from scratch because I have so much more insight now.
I think it's so great. Like you were engaging fans back on that when you first started. And then like you and Blake were the first couple artists to do that. Talk to me more about engaging with the fans and how you try to involve the fans in your cards.
Sure. Yeah. So I have been building an audience on Instagram for maybe 10 years or so now since I finished design school. And yeah, I've always been trying to share my process because I just think that not only is it fun for people to see, people like to know how the sausage is made, but also for those designers and artists that are a few steps behind who don't know how to use the tools or how to find their style. Like it's just cool for them to see that I make mistakes or it's not easy right away. And I just like to show that transparency. Okay. So I've been doing Instagram lives for a while and I like some things about Instagram live. Other things are, it's just like noisy, right? Like how many times you get notification.
Yep.
So-and-so just went live on Instagram and like, who cares? It's not really an event as much as something like this. So I haven't been doing too many more Instagram lives, but that's where I started with this project. Originally, one of the people at Topps asked me to introduce myself on their story. Okay. So I recorded a little video. I was quarantining at my parents' place at that time. And I sent them the video and they said, you should do a live stream, like do one of your cards. And at that time I thought my Mattingly was going to come out soon. So I just did my Mattingly. And then I saw Mattingly charities like came in on the live stream and you came in on the live stream and all these baseball fans and card collectors started coming in and watching. And that was when it started to pop off.
Yep.
So before I did anything with Patreon or anything. So yeah.
I thought it was so cool because you know, you see pictures on Instagram, you see celebrities do stuff and talk about themselves on Twitter, but like I was on Instagram live and you like were like commenting on things I said and like incorporating that into your art. And I thought that was so super awesome. Like Blake does the same thing. I think there's very few artists that take input from fans. So talk to me more about input that you took from fans that kind of changed the card you did.
You mean for the doc?
For any card that you've done so far.
Yeah. It's hard for me to remember exactly. Obviously, I can't remember which fan came up with which idea, but it's hard for me sometimes to remember which ideas were mine and which ideas were theirs. Okay. Because it all just kind of mixes together. And I'm so focused on creating a really balanced visual piece from the card. So I just treat it like a list of ideas, and then I usually transfer it over to my iPad, like on a layer. I'll just like write it out or on a Post-it note or something. Or in the case of Doc, I did that big piece of paper. So I just take all the ideas that I can get from most. I've been trying to keep them consolidated in Patreon in those brainstorming posts, so it's just all in one place. Yep. But early on, I was just taking comments and whatever, and I don't know. Like there are some times where I'll actively be like, I need to sit with this and just make what I want to make for this card. Like my next card that's coming up, I'm definitely going to be doing some of that because Jeter, my childhood hero, basically. So.
Not me.
My next one's Jeter, yeah.
Can you see the back? Right?
Not really.
You kind of cut off there. Is it a Jeter? Nice.
What is that? That's not Jeter.
It's not Jeter, and there is an asterisk.
Tori knows why I cut that number off. But Blake spray painted the 13 back on the A-Rod jersey. Nice. And it's done some other things to it as well. You can't really see where he's working on it. Right. What is your favorite card that you've done so far?
I think Jackie.
Okay.
Yeah. Just because he was such a huge figure and he did so much for the sport and for our culture. And I just felt like it was such an honor to make a card in his, with his face on it. And awesome. I was able to work in a lot of different stories into one card with that one. So.
Why I love the Jackie, why I love the Doc Gooden is that like you put a mask on Doc Gooden. I think that's really socially historic. So talk to me about why you put a mask on Doc Gooden and why, obviously he's the doctor, right? So there's kind of a play on words too. Talk to me more about that.
I can't take credit for the idea. Actually, there were a couple different people in my Patreon group that came up with the idea, but I I decided to use the idea. So that was a conscious decision. And I wouldn't say it's historic yet because it's happening right now. We're all wearing masks and we should be. So I just felt like it's so top of mind. It's still weird. We're in that like 3 month out phase, 4 month out from when no one had any idea about what to do. Right. Like, so it's still new, it's still fresh, and it's still awkward. Like I went to an engagement party the other day and no one was wearing masks. And I was like, I gotta get out of here. Right. Like, this is stupid. So it was on a rooftop, so there was extra space, but you know, I just felt like it's so top of mind, and no one's talking about it in this group. And maybe that is good because it's an escape. And I think that there is value in escapism. A lot of my art is abstract and doesn't really reference anything except for my own feelings and my own stories. So hard to pin down, but I think it was just the right opportunity with Doc, and I talked to him and his team, and they were into it. So it just made sense to do it. I think I had trouble deciding what to put on the mask because I almost wanted to make it even more like, like if it just said wear a mask.
Stadium's awesome.
But I decided, make it like a Mets mask.
Yeah. So, you know, I've seen you design the cards on your iPad, doing digitally. Tell me what other mediums you're doing your art in. And, you know, you gave me a great freehand, and you showed me like a painting, and I kind of interpreted the painting different than you and Jess had ever said.
Tony has more paintings of yours than mine now.
Yes,
we need to change that.
Yeah, seriously.
We're going to put his on the TV. You should, as you should.
I've always used the sketchbook my whole life. And so sketching, pencil and paper, pen and paper is my first medium, I guess. And then I don't really like colored pencils or pastels or anything. I go straight for the paint after that. And I find that paint markers are great for me because I have a strong sense of line in my work. And so just using a paint marker, it's like no cleanup. I don't have to dip a brush. It's just like go for it. And it's always consistent. So paint markers and then spray paint, because I do a lot of murals. I used to do them with brushes and rollers, and now I'm like, I just want to use spray paint.
Okay.
For most of it, and then I'll do brushes for some details. But yeah.
Here's a random question: how do you draw a straight line? I told Blake and Matt the easiest. I had a geometry teacher that told me the easiest way to draw a straight line is put the pen down and then look where you want to draw it, and then that's just you make a better straight line. So tell me how you draw a straight line.
I think that's one of the good ways for sure. I remember being in school and they made us do an exercise where we literally just drew pages and pages of straight lines. And the idea is to move your whole body with it and not just like your wrist only, because your wrist has like such a small radius that it will get curved. So if you move your whole arm, it's easier to draw a straight line. Even if it's a small one, you can do it like that.
Great.
Yeah.
You talked about the Doc card. Tell me about the Doc autographs you're going to put up on your website, but also like an update on any Ted Williams shipments and any other autos, your Jackie autos on the website. Like what's still available for people to buy?
Sure. So the only autographs that I have available right now are the Jackie Robinson ones. That was my last card, and there's some stock left. Pretty limited in some of the tiers, but yeah, I went big on that one. I'm going to be doing more limited autographs going forward. I think it was just like a process of learning, and it was good. You know, I think I'm glad that a lot of people were able to get it, because I think with previous drops, I didn't do enough, and this time I went a little high. So I'm going to find that sweet spot. With my other autograph cards, all the Nolan Ryan ones have been shipped. Ted Williams have been shipped. I definitely made some mistakes with the shipping process, and some things got returned back to me or missed somehow. So I apologize if anybody's watching and they haven't gotten their Ted Williams autograph card yet, but I have all of them out now. So that's good. And yeah, then for the Doc autographs, middle of next week is when I'm planning to launch them through my website. With each one of these drops, I've been giving a password in Patreon. And that way no bots can get in. And I also have a limit for how many cards people can buy, and I can validate that whether they're actually in Patreon just based on the email that they use.
Okay. So what's the really big news about you and Doc Gooden and the autographs?
Yes. So thanks to you, we're going to be doing some Efdot autograph cards, some dual autographs. that's the news. And we haven't planned it out fully yet, so we're not sure exactly how many we're going to do or which day we're going to drop it on, but it's going to be soon. And I guess he'll probably sign the front and I might do the back, unless you guys can convince me to both do the front. We do have 2 spots like on either side of his face, like with the apple.
Nice.
So,
Awesome. Tell me more about other work you're doing outside of Project 2020. We were talking before about murals you're doing for small businesses in Brooklyn.
Sure. So yeah, after I got back from quarantining for a few weeks in Westchester, I hadn't painted a mural in a while. And if you've ever seen a mural, you know how engaging and like awesome it is. It can change a whole space, change a whole neighborhood from far away. And I love that aspect of murals. So I was itching to get another one in the neighborhood. I moved into a new apartment as well. So I just started walking around looking for walls, and I know that small businesses were struggling and murals help them. They also help me just by getting my work out there. So I decided to use whatever leftover paint I had in my studio and just say, hey, I'm down to paint a mural for you. And, you know, once you offer it up for free like that, they pretty much let you take it from there. And like, they trust you, especially if they saw my previous murals. And so I've done a few of those, and I have another one coming up, flower shop down the street from my place. So
Yep.
I'm excited about that.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I get to collaborate on those with my partner, Jessie, too. And she's here. We can bring her in a little bit.
Yeah, bring her in.
Okay.
Let's go.
Hey, Jessie. Okay. She might be watching something. I'm going to text her.
All right. Well,
my place is so big. No.
Now bring her in definitely later.
Yeah.
You know, you talked about the ongoing historic moment of COVID and wearing masks. So talk to me more about the impact of COVID on you, your business, your family, wearing masks on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. So Jessie, she'll tell you in a better way, but she has a health condition that makes her especially vulnerable to the virus if she were to get it. So we're taking it really seriously. And that's exactly why we didn't stay long at that gathering last week. So, and obviously my parents are in good health, and I don't want them to get unhealthy. So we've been really careful. In terms of my business, I lost just about all my upcoming projects when the pandemic hit. They were postponed or canceled, but luckily Tops kept me busy and didn't delay this project at all. And they just kept it moving. So really, this project is what's been carrying my business, and
Great.
Also selling more prints through my website. I have a little shop where I sell digital prints, which are unsigned, but I do have some more limited edition prints coming later this year.
Okay.
So that's been really cool. Like, people, especially in the card collecting community, they love to see the limited edition stuff. So knowing that I have more of a market for that here is great. Jessie just walked in, by the way. You want to say hi?
Awesome. Let's say hi.
It's cold in here. She's putting on a nice sweater.
It's so cold. It's got the AC on blast. Hi. Nice to meet you.
Well, that's Tony. You met Tony.
I met Tony.
Well, he was wearing a mask.
Recognize you.
He was wearing a mask the whole time.
Okay, there we go.
Yes.
I feel like in Step Brothers.
It's like a name tag.
Hello.
Hi.
There we go. Yeah, exactly. Now I recognize you without the mask. Yeah.
We gotta get close.
Gotta get close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How's
Jesse.
it going?
Very good. We were just talking about COVID and impact of COVID on your family, on Eric, on his business, on you. So talk to me about that in your perspective.
I
And
think
especially about including
things
wearing
first.
masks when you're outside.
Sorry, repeat that.
Wearing masks.
Oh yeah. Well, first things first, I think like the biggest thing was like I had to move to Brooklyn because I was in Manhattan and we can't take trains to and from. And then also just like not seeing people, like it's so surreal right now. I think we also both work in industries where we just are supposed to be kind of socializing and being a part of a community. And that's really changed, I think, as a result of COVID. So it's crazy, right?
Totally. I totally agree.
Yeah.
You didn't even recognize me without wearing a mask. And that's,
I know, right? Like, it's such a wild time.
you know, we're like 6 feet from each other saying hi and trying to be sociable, but you can't really do that. So let's see.
By
Eric,
the way, Jessie's an artist herself. She makes textiles and rugs and beautiful wall hangings and stuff. If you want to see her work, it's Jessie Mordine on Instagram. Just Jessie.
Yeah, spell it out, Eric.
JESSIEMORDINE.
Yeah.
On Instagram, and then her website's there as well.
Yeah, I think like with our collaborations, I'm bringing in some of my textile work into the murals. Like you see Eric's blobs, and then I'll have some more of my shapes and my colors. So it's kind of like that's how we collaborate a little bit, which has been really fun. Hopefully doing a couple more murals this summer together. But yeah.
Did you guys meet in the art world?
We met on Hinge. I moved to New York last July, and we met 4 days after I met. So
wow.
Yeah, I just like welcomed her to New York, showed her around, and now things have changed a lot. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been fun. I think like a really big thing for both of us is being a part of a community. Like, and so I have my own textile community that I do educational posts about and like talk about different artists' work. And so that's like what's really spurred the Muralists account that we've been working on.
We didn't talk about the Muralists account. So it's something that I've been wanting to start for years. And now with Jessie's help, I'm able to do it this year, it's just an Instagram account we started called Muralists. And this new handle kind of fell into my lap, and I was like, this is perfect. So yeah, Instagram at Muralists is where we're sharing.
How did you pull that off, man? That's a great handle.
Well, someone who owned it previously was doing a not so great job of being consistent. And
what? Don't critique it.
Well, they just weren't posting.
That's fair.
And the content was but the consistency was really like why I volunteered. I said, hey, do you need help running this account? Because previously they reached out to me to feature one of my murals. And I just said, do you need help running the account? And she said, no, I got it. It's okay. But then a few weeks later, she said, actually, I don't have time to run this. Do you want to buy it from me? And so I said, you know what? I'm not going to buy it. If you want to make money on this, then go find somebody. But if you want me to grow it the right way, like I'll do it. And then eventually she just gave it to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I love that.
So it's becoming.
And what's up, Jessie, by the way? I'm Blake. Great to meet you.
I've heard great things about you. Yeah, I really like your work. Really, really awesome. It's just been so fun to see people in this project really putting their own touch to each baseball player. Mm-hmm. I'm learning so much through this process. Like I know the names of like the greats, but like learning the facts from Eric and then seeing the artists like create, like put in things that really inspire them into each card has been so much fun.
Yeah.
It's been awesome.
That's awesome. I love it. I love it. Eric, I got a question for you.
Sure.
What do you think, like how has Project 2020 helped the growth of your own like brand and business? And that could be both for the Efdot brand. It could be for the Muralist brand. Like, are there any unexpected wins that you got so far out of this project that you're like, holy crap, I had no idea, like now my business is growing in this way? Because I just know, like me personally, like it's grown way more than I expected it ever would. And to be doing these live streams every night and having like this really engaged audience where a lot of times the same people are coming back every single night. Is there anything like that? Like where you're like, holy crap, the business is growing in this way and I didn't expect it because of 2020?
I think the autograph series was definitely an income stream that I wasn't expecting to have. And so that's allowed me to reinvest back into my business and grow more of a team to help me just make my whole thing more efficient and get a larger studio, which I'm moving into later this week. Jessie,
congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Congratulations to both of you.
Yeah, it's been good.
That's exciting.
Yeah, I signed the lease. I got the keys yesterday. So
wow, man, that's so cool.
It's the same thing that happened to you where you just kind of expanded like past the walls, and there happened to be a studio that was vacant next to mine. And we're doing some experiments in there this week before we fill it with furniture. We're going to be doing some painting in there and filming some stuff for a project that I can't talk too much about, but there will be some canvases that I can sell. So that's something that's pretty cool with this project is like a lot of people want canvases for their home as well, like the baseball card collectors. So I think when I started out growing my audience, I was making a lot of content for other artists and designers to learn and to grow. And to enjoy my art, obviously. But then more and more, I've realized that the way to grow a business is to find your niche. That's not just, I mean, if I'm making tools for artists, like that's a niche, but that's not really what I'm doing. I am like doing some education here and there, but that's not where I want to make the majority of my income, because I want to help artists for free or for cheap, you know? So I think having a business that's separate from serving other artists has been really great. And then this project just really helped me speed that up. Like, I think my goal was always to have a small team working with me so I can focus more on the art. And now, like, it's all happened very fast.
It's wild, man. It's wild. You know, it's crazy for me as an artist. How long have you been full-time painting?
Full-time only since October, but I did. I had a job at WeWork where I was basically painting for them and doing murals for them in my style. So it was hard to leave that.
Yeah, of course. Good for you, man. Yeah, that's great.
There were a lot of other things I did for WeWork that weren't in my style and that were more collaborative. But eventually, it was just time to leave.
The thing that I think is so crazy is like Eric started out as like a graphic designer / product designer. He did a minor in product design. And that's like this kind of scale, some of the projects you're working on. And then you moved away from that and then went huge.
Here we are, full circle.
Covering buildings. Yeah, full circle. Like this project pushed you to go back to this smaller medium and smaller scale. And like, I think that like presents its own challenges. Like it's actually really hard, I think, to figure out how to make the most of this tiny little canvas, basically. It's such a different process, right? Because like, when we get up on a wall, we can like make huge blocks of color and then add in line. And so I think that's like a new challenge in a sense. Yeah.
So Chris the Rev asked, how did you connect with Tops, Eric? And someone else had asked above, which is why I pinned this comment now, asking how Tops got in contact with us. So for me, Jeff filled out a contact form on my website because he had seen some work that I did with the PLL, which is Premier Lacrosse, which is Professional Lacrosse League. But how did they contact with you? Was it similar?
For me, it was Brandon that hit me up, and he had been following me for a couple years already. And he just sent me an email out of the blue. And I was really excited because, I mean, you've been doing sports related work for a long time. This was my first big sports related project. So,
yeah. Well, I think I honestly, man, I feel really lucky and blessed to be included in the group, because I think, and this is just speculation, not off any insider knowledge, but I think that Tops did a very good job curating artists that were outside of the sports world, because it brought in all these new people into the sports world hobby. And so, we see like fashion designers and product designers and like indie, like people that are doing all types of different in the art world, bigger picture, and folding them in. And so I had been focused on sports art. And so for me, it seemed like a natural fit. But honestly, like I said, I feel lucky to be included, because I think that part of what they wanted to accomplish was bringing some outside audience into the sports world. And like Tyson Beck had made cards for Tops in the past. So I feel like me and Tyson lucked out to even be a part of this. It's so cool to see all the different styles they brought in.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I really think they did a good job curating different styles for sure. What was I going to say? Yeah, I think there's going to be a wave of people in the fall that have been following us. They've known about the project, but they didn't realize that they loved it until later. Like a lot of my fans, a lot of my art fans, they're not baseball fans, but they might become baseball fans through this, because we are fusing art and baseball. And then later they might be like, oh, I wish I got that Willie Mays card, but the run was so low. And now good luck getting one. I can't give one away. I'm saving. I have very few of my own cards. I'm saving them for full sets.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so there's a question below about when we were younger, did we both want to be artists? I want to answer that in a second, but first I want to touch on that. I think that for me, for my collectors, same thing. They weren't necessarily baseball fans or card collectors, but a lot of people that are in, I don't know, my age range. I'm 35. I think you're a little younger. You definitely have the baby face. I'm the old man. But there's a lot of similarities, I think, between an art collector and a baseball card collector, because they place, there's obviously a market value for everything, whether it be art or baseball cards or anything. And so there's a value that can go up. So there's some investment potential. But I think that a lot of the reason my art collectors buy my art is because of the story and what it means to them. And it might mean something different to them than it means to me, but that's okay. There's still a story attached. And I think that now, like with these baseball cards that are actually just tiny pieces of art, it's giving that story and it's getting them back in. But also a lot of those people, because they have that like collector mentality, like a lot of them have boxes of baseball cards in their garage that have probably sat there for 20 or 30 years, like me. And now they're pulling them out and they're going through all these old cards and they're reliving that story. And that's like the most fun part about it. So it's like so cool to see.
Yeah. And some of the messages that I've been getting from collectors, I'm sure you're getting similar ones, of just like saying that this either made them rediscover baseball cards or it made them fall back in love with art. And I just think that's so cool. And I got a lot of messages from doctors and nurses, especially with this Doc Gooden drop, saying that it spoke to them. And that is like the best approval that I could ever get, you know, that I'm not a doctor myself. And I think with the Jackie card, I took some risks as well. And the fact that they both resonated, I mean, it's not going to resonate with everyone, like you said, but the fact that you get multiple messages from even just one message that it resonated really deeply with somebody and they loved it, made their day, like that makes me so happy.
Yeah. Okay. So let's do this question below. So we'll go you first. When you were younger, did you want to be an artist?
I definitely did want to be an artist, but I didn't really know what that looked like. I just wanted to be a professional Eric. And I had a few people in my life that did art professionally, like my grandmother. And so I just followed. I just thought like that must be what being an artist is like. But obviously our work is very different and the times have changed. So I did want to be an artist. And I actually noticed that my mom just joined the stream. So she's here.
Nice.
So maybe Mom.
Shout out Mama Efdot.
Mom is here. So she can share something in the chat, maybe a little story or a comment about.
I love that. Please do. What's your mom's name?
Kathy.
Kathy.
Hi, Kathy.
Welcome. Hello. Thank you so much for joining us. Awesome. Yeah. So for me, I've always been like drawn to like creating or building or just like experimenting. But I think like a lot of people, I got to, I don't know what age, I guess sometime in high school, because when I went to college, my parents were actually very they were encouraging me to either go to art school or like minor in art or art history or anything like related to art, just because they knew that I loved it. And I had let society kind of convince me that art wasn't a viable career path. So I thought I was taking the safe route by studying economics and then going into marketing, which, you know, if I look back, I wouldn't change anything about the decisions that I made because I'm so happy about where I'm at and how life is all shaking out. But yeah, man, I wanted to be an artist, to answer your question, Marcus, but I didn't believe in myself yet enough to pursue that dream. And it wasn't until my 30th birthday where I was working a very corporate job, making decent money, having a cubicle, punching a time clock, and just realized that, like, you know, looking forward to Fridays and dreading Mondays was not the way that I wanted to live my life. And so that's the point in my life where I quit my corporate job, started painting full time. And it's just been like, it's been a whirlwind of a five years since then. And I do think like I have a unique, the dot matriarch. I love that. Welcome back.
She's still here. I hope she is.
Yeah. You know, I think that I wouldn't change anything. I think that my experience in marketing gave me the confidence that like I could sell any product, whether I believed in it or not, through strategic marketing and like data-driven marketing online. And so like when I switched over and started selling something that I really, really believed in and really enjoyed making, it's been really easy for me. And so I never had that like the starving artist experience. I was always afraid of it, which is what scared me away from probably pursuing art school to begin with. But yeah, it's been crazy, man. It's funny how everyone's path is different. And, you know, here we are, our paths are converging right now. And I hope we get to ride the wave together for a long time. And, you know, who knows, in 1 or 10 or 5 years, you know, either one of us could be doing any number of different things. And it's just, it's a fun roller coaster to be on. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Did you want to share anything about your story about being like, did your parents encourage you or anything, or you want to keep moving on to different other questions?
Yeah, no, let's hear it. If you got a story,
yeah, I think it's the same as you two. I went to art school, so I felt like I had the support from my parents in that regard, but it was something where I felt like in art school, they were like, you have to do the gallery route. You have to do like the traditional, even if it was like a very conceptual art program and like there was a lot of people doing different things, it was still like, that's the way that you do art. And I think that like meeting Eric and then also moving to New York City, it's so clear that there's other ways to do it. And that's part of the creativity, is like figuring out a way where like you don't have to do that starving artist or struggling artist mentality. And like, I think that like you also need to be your biggest advocate and promoter of your work.
Yeah.
And that's something I'm learning, and we're all learning, I think, through, just making and doing what we love. So
I want to hear about what Jesse's doing currently. Tell me more about your work currently.
I'm in grad school right now, and then doing my work part-time and then helping Eric part-time. So my program isn't art focused, actually. And I think that moving to New York,
it is art focused.
It's not
making focused.
Yeah, it's not making focused. I'm in like a textile history program. So it's like thinking about how to educate people about textiles more. But yeah, so I'm loving it. But at the same time, it's becoming like really clear that when I finish, I want to be, full time making my own work.
And also, a lot of her classes were held in the Metropolitan Museum of Art and in different museums that have been closed for months. So her grad school experience has changed, working from home, and she's sticking with it. And she's hustling, like she's still making and selling work on the side and helping me, and she's great.
I love that.
Really good. I think like this summer it's been a lot of making, so it's good.
Yeah.
What do you mean about educating people about textiles? Tell me more about that. Like, who are you educating? Where are you doing it? What kind of textiles? All that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So I was in the museum world for a while, and now am more interested in trying to figure out ways to promote textile practices. Both for communities who don't really have the opportunity to get their work seen, just because of the society we live in. There's a lot of traditional textile processes that are kind of being forgotten. So how do we support those communities, both in the US and overseas, and like try and allow them to have sustainable practices?
Okay.
And then also I do a lot of writing about textiles, working with different artists in trying to create publications about their own work. That's kind of what I'm working on right now, is creating a couple publications with other organizations, and then being an advocate for other design practices. And we
did a really cool craft retreat in Mexico in January. We decided to start off the new decade right and just like go get inspired by.
Uh-oh.
We lost audio.
No, I think we lost. He froze.
There we go.
Okay. Sorry, you guys froze for a second. I don't know why.
Sorry. I was just saying we spent the first month of the year just traveling in Mexico, and we did this retreat where every day we would learn about a different craft that was traditional in Mexico. And we'd actually like go to the village where like this whole village is just textile artists. Yeah. And that's where most of the rugs were made in Mexico. So like that was super awesome to see in person.
So I think like that was like a new experience for you, but I actually I went to high school in India, and I felt like I was really introduced to a ton of different processes at a really young age. And I think through that experience, it became clear, like, I want to be an advocate for artists, not just in the art world that we know it, but also artisans overseas.
Nice.
So I could talk about that all night, but we're not going to.
I have more questions for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good living there,
come in.
Yeah.
This is great, guys. Thank you for all the great. Thanks for being so curious, and all the people for tuning in. I really appreciate all you being here.
Mm-hmm.
Eric, move over.
Yeah.
One more thing before I go. Link down below this video. Buy Eric's Gooden card before 1 p.m. tomorrow. Make that happen.
So my last question for Jess, did living in India influence your art?
Yeah, for sure. I was supposed to do more of a textile design route, doing the kind of overseeing production.
Okay.
And I think that through living there, that really changed my interests.
Nice.
And then also I think like style wise, like color has like been a part of my work because of living there.
Okay.
I have like actually most of my family is Indian. Both my parents are married to people who are Indian, and so I think that there's like a lot of like like just like you probably have quilts that your grandmother made you. Like I have quilts from India that like were my step grandmother's, and like colors and the patterns are really important to my work. So yeah, definitely a part of my practice for sure.
Good stuff. Eric, just a few more questions. So we talked about charity, but you didn't talk yet about United Way of New York City.
Yes. So for the Doc Gooden card, I decided to partner with United Way because they're so community focused, and I felt like that was the best way to make an impact in New York. To get involved with an organization that just like actually really listens to the communities and their needs. So they help with food support. They help with just giving them funds to help them with anything. And then also with other resources. So my goal for this one is to raise another $10,000 for United Way of New York City, and hoping to get that matched by some company. I know that there's a few different ways to do that. So hopefully it will become 20K and more from there. Yeah. And that's tied in with the pandemic and the Doc card. Obviously, I think right now, while they're not providing PPE for communities as their only thing that they're doing, I wanted to make it focused around like pandemic relief.
Okay.
Doc card. Yeah.
That's great. Tell me more. You talked a little bit about Patreon before, but tell me more about how people can get your autos and be part of Patreon and what they get for being part of that.
I'm working on a little video right now that you'll see when you go to Patreon as a little welcome video that explains it. But since it's not up there yet, I'll explain it now. Basically, it is a little membership site that you can customize. It's great for artists who it's like some people use it as a tip jar, but you can also offer perks. So for the $5 membership level, which is every time I come out with a new card, $5 pledge. And so usually it's 2 cards per month based on the schedule that Topps is doing. So it's basically a $10 monthly subscription to get all the behind the scenes content about my series. And so I share works in progress, sketches. I take ideas from my patrons in the brainstorming posts, weekly live streams on Monday nights, which I'm going to be stepping up the quality of those real soon. I got some new technology that just came in today. And then also they get the password for autograph cards. So
awesome.
Hours before they're open to the public, I give the password there, and then
Richard says Tony has a permagrin, and so I think my wife can say I always have a grin, but I have another reason, right, Eric?
There's the hat. You guys have so much of my gear. It's great.
I like the other hat too. Yeah.
So you want to talk about that at all?
The merch that I do, or the blog?
Well, no, we talked about your expansion of your offices and.
Oh yeah. For sure. So I have a little offer
about that too.
My team?
Yep.
Oh, I see. Okay. I see what you're getting here. So yeah, we got to meet up in person for the first time last week, and we've been chatting a lot. And he's just been helping me so much. Like Tony's been giving me a lot of advice and encouragement throughout the series. And I just feel like there's a few different pain points that I've had. And Tony basically just like offered me to help on a more I guess official basis. So what do you want to say? I'm on Team Tony, or Tony's on Team Efdot?
Team Efdot.
Okay. So yeah, I have a couple part-time people that help me in my studio, but I'm also going to be working closely more with Tony and his people. So, and then I'm expanding my studio. I broke down I didn't break down the wall, but on the other side of my wall, I have a new space where I'll be doing a lot more experiments. So
nice. I'm excited about it, Eric. Do you want to talk more about the Jackie auto giveaway?
Yeah, so I left it up to you guys of how we wanted to handle people entering, but like I said, I have some Jackie Robinson cards still available, and there's an unnumbered series that each of them are worth $200. So we're going to give away one of those to someone on the stream, right?
Yep. And so people have to buy, how many do they have to buy, Eric? Do they have to buy 1 Doc Gooden, 5 Doc Goodens, and show us the receipt? And then they're eligible to win one of the autos for Jackie. So do they how many do they have to buy? 10, 1, 5? You set the number.
Man, I'm tempted to just say 1 so that everybody can enter. But
okay.
Yeah.
1 entry per card.
1 entry per card. That makes sense. So if you want to buy 10 cards, then you get 10 more likelihood of winning.
Okay. All right. So everyone has to email a receipt to me, and it's Tony@BlakeJamieson.com.
Yep. And
I'll take the heat off
for legal purposes.
No purchase
necessary. If you watch the stream and you can't purchase a card for whatever reason or don't want to, that's okay.
Yep.
Still email Tony. Just say, "Yo, I want my entry." Tony.
And then it's a random lottery.
And it's a random lottery. So, everybody that emails gets an entry. But then on top of that, if you buy cards, every card you get another entry. You buy a 10-pack, you're going to end up with 11 entries because everyone gets the freebie.
Yep.
No purchase necessary entry, right? Does that sound fair?
Yep.
Yeah, that's smart. Yeah.
You need more lights. These lights are too hot. I'm like sweating.
Well, it is hot. But
Seriously.
that's the AC problem. But I mean, look at the beautiful, you look good though.
Everyone can see my blemishes and everything.
People wear makeup. I have some concealer you can wear.
Allergies.
I have all that stuff. I have that stuff if you want. We can get rid of our shine for you.
Tony, I got a question for you.
Sure.
Why do you wear your hat so low in your photos where you can't see your eyes like this?
It's a great question. Don't look at me, bro. This is a question for you.
I have no answer.
There's no answer. That's just why he wears his hat.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the mystery.
You don't need to have a reason.
It is.
But I didn't really know what you looked like.
Just saw the other half of my face now, so that's a good part.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
You
Good
guys
question.
right?
I'll answer that at a later date.
Yeah.
I'll talk to
Matt,
my lawyer.
You ready for some questions?
You ready, Matt?
Yeah. Ready to tap in?
We got Matt coming on now.
Yeah, we got Matt coming in.
Yeah.
Let me slide in right there real quick.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. We'll
Thank
see
you, man. And thanks, everybody, for buying my cards, entering this giveaway. It's going to be fun.
Link down below this video. Make sure to get them now before 1 o'clock Eastern.
And you did study marketing.
I did, man.
That's my favorite hat, this one.
Yeah, this one's great. Yeah. I want to get, when we meet up in person, I want to have you sign the underside of the brim.
Oh, yeah.
I would do that.
I would love that.
You're just on the road, right?
I'm sorry?
You're like on.
Oh, yeah. We're in Long Island City. We're 2 miles.
Oh, he said on the road, not down the road.
Down the road.
Yeah. We could have done this in person. We will meet up in person sometime this year for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, man. And I would love to do like an in-person painting experience. And we live stream it, and so cool. We collab. We could do independent works, or we could collab on something. Also, I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot here, but how would you feel about doing an art swap of an original for an original, and we could just pick. It could be whatever you want. Like I would either make something fresh or pull an inventory thing. I would love for you to have an original of mine, and I would definitely love to have an original of yours. So if you'd be down for that. I would love to coordinate that as well.
I definitely got a lot of new wall space in the studio, so
yeah,
I'm totally down for that. Yeah, let's do it.
That's awesome, man. I have those couple prints that I got from you, which look amazing. I need to get some 3D glasses, which I think Gregory Sift's sending us because he's got the 3D glasses stickers, and then you had that 3D print, and I want to, I think it's 3D, right? The
installation, the butts one.
The circle one?
Oh no!
Or which one?
No. It's the blob, but it's done in red and offset.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So I think if I wore 3D glasses, it would be.
Oh, maybe it would. I don't know. I didn't design it that way, like on purpose.
Wow. I think if we put 3D glasses on and look at that print, it's going to be insane, and that's my plan for it. That's why I bought it, because I actually really love the idea of the 3D art, because I used to read Ninja Turtles comics. And there were Ninja Turtles comics that were 3D that you had to, it came with the glasses, and then you wear the comic and it looks like they're jumping off the page, and it's awesome. And so I've been obsessed with 3D glasses and 3D glasses art since then. So when I saw that print on your site, I assumed that's what it was for. Maybe it was just a happy accident, as Bob Ross would say.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Yeah, I'm stoked to get a Blake original for sure. I've been your work, and the more I see the process, I think even though our techniques are different and our processes are different, I think the mindset is similar. It's about experimentation, like seeing what happens when you put this color with that color, or this material with that material, or the stencil. You never know how it's going to turn out exactly.
Yeah,
there's always some overspray, and so I like that we both we kind of use like clumsy tools in a way with the splatter paint and
Yeah, I love it, man. It's giving me so much fun to have you here. And also at some point I would love to come check out your new space. Whenever when it makes sense. All right, so I think we're gonna tag Matt in. And Matt has some questions as well. Yeah. And we'll go from there, right?
Absolutely.
Would you like a hat to wear? You want to wear the Mets
hat?
hat?
I mean, sure, I could. Yeah, let's wear the Mets hat in honor of the dot card.
Yes, and just a final reminder, guys, not final, but a now reminder.
Not even close
down below this video, link, buy his card, email the receipt to Tony, Tony, at BlakeJamieson.com, BlakeJamieson.com. And you guys could win a Jackie signed card. All right, without further ado, Mr. Matt Costello. Yeah, we should switch places.
Yeah, they're good. Matt, what's up, dude?
Eric, what's up? How are you? I'll get the Mets logo down.
I'm good. I'm good. And this is Jesse.
Hi.
Jesse, how are you? Nice to meet you.
Yeah, we're doing well.
Awesome.
Well. Glad to be here.
I'm keeping it on. I'm keeping it on. I do. I'm not a hat guy. I'm just not a hat guy.
I feel like I need to get a hat. Like
yeah, right. You know what, Jesse? We'll be hatless for the duration of this interview. Yeah, just your next. I think you guys went over this already, but your next couple cards, Jeter, Ripken. How are you feeling about Jeter? You excited for Jeter?
Really excited about the Jeter.
Nice.
I had a poster of Jeter on my wall growing up, so he was a big hero, and obviously like going to the games and seeing him play in the '90s and 2000s. Yeah, I had a Jeter jersey as well that I'd wear to the games. I tried to find it and we couldn't find it. We found a Williams jersey, but I had a lot of Jeter stuff. Like I went to the Subway Series. I went to like a lot of games when I was growing up. So I'm excited to do it big for the Yankees and do it for Jeter. And so many things I want to work in. I haven't even asked my Patreon group yet. So
that was my next question. Like, what are like, I don't know, 2 or 3 things that you're like, I definitely want to get this on the Jeter card, if you can share.
I like the Mr. November nickname. I was born in November. November is my lucky month as well. So there's some fun I can do with that.
For sure.
The number 2 is a really strong visual just because it's a single digit. And I can do something maybe with negative space with that, where you only see like the gaps in the 2. Tried to do that with Jackie Robinson with the 42, but it didn't make sense because there was already so much going on. So I might bring back the idea of like a giant number in the background. We'll see. And the captain, his other nickname. So I feel like there's a lot to play with there. And I need to do more research because I remember being a huge Jeter fan growing up, and that's why I'm so excited about it. But I actually don't know like a ton about him. Like I forgot a ton of stuff about him. So I need to dig back in and also ask for some ideas. Yeah.
Well, if you're looking for an idea, I maybe I'll throw this out because I am actually a member of your Patreon group. Everyone should join Eric's Patreon group, as he mentioned earlier. Kalamazoo, Michigan. I've always been like a little bit obsessed with Kalamazoo, Michigan. I believe he was born there.
Okay.
People on the stream, you can fact check me on Wikipedia. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he grew up in Kalamazoo or he played high school ball in Kalamazoo. But I've always been a big Kalamazoo guy. So I'm just throwing it out there. Maybe Kalamazoo.
Like the mitt. Isn't like Michigan the mitten state?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
The baseball mitt.
Exactly.
Something could be the baseball mitten.
Yeah. A little Kalamazoo on the mitt. I don't know. Something. Just a thought.
The original card for that one is a great image too.
It is. Yeah.
Just like the stance. I've been doing this thing with a few of my cards where I bring in a second image of the player if it wasn't already like a 2-image card.
Okay.
So I might do that. Yeah. I'm leaving it open for now, but next week I'm going to dive in and try to get it done quickly. I've been trying to like streamline the process a little bit. I actually did do a Jeter that I can show.
Oh yeah, please.
When I started this project, I like immediately went for the Jeter, but like I said, I didn't have all the research and all like the insights about how I wanted to approach the cards yet. So let's see if I can find it here. I also have a Griffey in here that I started.
Oh, I think people wouldn't mind, taking a peek at that. If
I might have to give just a cropping of that one.
that works. Hey, whatever you're comfortable with. So people are commenting. He was born in New Jersey, but he went to high school in Kalamazoo.
Okay.
So
here, okay. So this was a Jeter draft that I did, and the final card is not going to look like this. So please don't screenshot this and start sharing it around like it's my final card. That happened with the Tony Gwynn card, and it ended up on eBay, and it wasn't even the right card. So this was a draft that I did of Jeter.
Wow. Oh, I really like that. That's really cool. Blake, you gotta see this.
Trying to get it with no glare. Here we go.
That's really cool,
dude. I love that.
So again, don't screenshot.
Do not
and say,
screenshot.
Say that this is Efdot's Jeter card for sale on eBay. This is not the final Jeter card. Okay, just to make that clear. Wow, that was that's really cool. That is some pretty big news right there.
And then if you want to see a little sneak peek of the Griffey,
yeah,
I can show you just a corner of it here.
Ooh, oh yeah, come back.
Sick.
I love your hand lettering and your just the lines that you create. My artistic vocabulary is not great. So,
you're good, man.
Thank you.
That was right on.
I feel like your work and Sophia Chang's work kind of reminds me a little bit of each other. I don't know. Would you agree with that sentiment at all?
For sure. I mean, when I started putting myself out there as a freelancer, even though I wasn't full time, I called myself a lettering artist. Okay. And I was like trying to niche down into that because I wanted to be known for something.
Sure.
And I loved lettering too. So I think Sophia had a similar story, or at least she did spend a long time like studying and practicing lettering. You can tell that with her work. So
for sure.
Yeah. And I think she also has like an illustration, graphic design background like me. So yeah.
I believe you're right. Are there any artists in the project who you weren't familiar with before the project started that you've become a fan of since the project started? Besides Blake. Yes. Thank you, Blake.
I think I have become a big fan of Gregory Siff. I didn't know anything about his work, and I like his approach. Really like don't give a shit, like just does his thing.
Yeah.
I like Tyson Beck's work a lot. I wasn't familiar with. I did know Sophia Chang already. I did not know JK5, and I'm obsessed with his work now. I picked up.
Amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, and I love that there's a strong community in New York too of him being here and you guys being here. Who else?
You've been a big fan of Keith Shore's work, but like
Keith Shore,
like with this project, you've been like super into it.
I found it randomly, like going to a brewery and they had the McKellar stuff there. Yeah. So that's been cool. Definitely missing some of them, but those are the first ones that come to mind.
Yeah. Oh, I think Sophia Chang is actually in the comments. Hey, what's up, Sophia? If you're here joining us.
Hey, thanks for coming.
She's invited tomorrow if she wants it.
Okay, so I don't know if you heard Blake, but Sophia, you're invited tomorrow to the stream if you to promote your new card if you'd like it. So just let us know.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's been one of my favorite parts, if not my favorite part of the project is discovering your work, discovering Blake's work, Sophia's work. I mean, so many phenomenally talented artists. So that's been really amazing.
Yeah, thank you, dude. I'm just excited to see how this all shakes out because even at the end of this year, that things are still going to keep going. Like the cards don't get delivered for a few weeks after. And so we're still going to be talking about this well into 2021.
You're right.
And I think we'll all be starting to like see what projects we want to get involved with for 2021 at that point. Yeah. And I think there's so much room for collaboration and expansion of like each other's work. So
that's a great point. I didn't even consider that the cards from maybe November and December will be being shipped in 2021. So Project 2020 will continue into next year. It's a great point.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, I mean, I love your mural work. I went to your site and just looked at all of the murals you've ever done, and I think they're fantastic. So I just wanted to ask you, what is your favorite mural that you've ever done? If you are able to narrow it down to one.
I think the one that I did with Jesse in Mexico is
nice.
My favorite.
On New Year's Eve?
New Year's Eve, 2019, like about 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And it was just really special to mark the end of a decade with that mural and do it in a special place like Mexico City. And they let us paint whatever we want. And that's always really cool when the person who owns the wall trusts that you'll just get it done in a really cool way. And the super colorful, floral, and also had some of my characters like hidden in there.
It was our first collab too, right?
Yeah.
So
That was okay.
pretty awesome. Yeah.
And where in Mexico is that? Mr. Jameson is asking. Mr. Jameson.
Is in Mexico City in the area called Roma Norte.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you've also done murals in Brazil and India and obviously New York City. And this question's for both of you. Where would be your dream location for a mural?
What's funny is we actually both did our first murals in India, but we didn't.
Oh, okay.
We didn't
We
know
didn't
each other.
know each other at the time.
That's awesome.
It was
Yeah.
crazy.
Dream mural location.
Japan.
Oh, nice.
That's like top of our list. I think both of us have been wanting to go there.
I don't know where yet. I would prefer to. I would like to paint an entire skate park, and
Nice.
and design it too, like with my brother because he's an engineer, and like make essentially like a sculpture park that is skatable and painted,
Yeah,
and just
dream.
that's like my artist dream basically. Yeah.
Have you ever been to Grounds for Sculpture in New Jersey?
No, but I'm assuming it's similar to what we have in New York called
Yeah.
Storm King.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like, Storm King is like a mega version of Grounds for Sculpture.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
always wanted to go to Storm King. I've never been.
We just went in the fall.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was like one of the last weekends before it closed for the season. It was great.
Yeah.
I got to check out Grounds for Sculpture though.
Yeah, it's great. I think you'd really enjoy it.
I think that list is endless though, of like dream mural spots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole world.
Every
Yeah.
building has 4 walls, so there's plenty of walls to go around.
Well said. Well
Yeah.
said. So obviously I read on Patreon and Tony and Blake both asked you a little bit about this, but with the success of the project, there's been kind of an increase in traffic and demand for your work, and you're building out this team. I guess what's been the biggest challenge in terms of just dealing with the increase in demand?
I think just knowing when to turn it off is hard.
Yeah.
And just unplugging.
There's always work to be done.
Yeah, and I think the engagement is great, but there's also like you can't please everybody, and I think I also I hold myself, like I beat myself up sometimes when I can't get back to everybody or when I can't do my best job on every single thing, and that's when delegating comes into play. And like
Blake is yelling to outsource your email. You should come here and rather than yell from 10 feet away, Blake.
It's fun part of the experience.
I know it is, but it makes
I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this on that of not getting back to everyone. So I'm like super lucky to have been building like such an awesome team. And one of the really key, but behind the scenes people on my team is actually my sister, Tess Kress, who she does join in a lot of streams. I haven't seen her in the comments yet, but she's managing all my inboxes. And so it's great. Like with a family member, like, you can trust them with those type of things because email can be sensitive sometimes. But, she's doing Instagram messages, Facebook messages, email messages. We're transitioning her to blowout forums. And so we've kind of gone over, we already know what the FAQ is. Everyone asks, oh, I have a card. Will you sign it? And what's that process like? Or, oh, when's your next card coming out? So like she already knows how I would respond to all these different questions. And then if there's anything that's, Tess is here all along. Awesome. So I got to tell you, man, because it was getting like that for me too, where I was getting a little bit overwhelmed. The inboxes, I physically couldn't keep up and also do what I want to do, which is like spend time painting and making my art. And like, it's been amazing. Every single hire has been super helpful. Tony's crushing publicity stuff and we're partnering on card art. Matt's crushing a lot of the artist auto kind of setup and also helping with card art stuff. And we're transitioning to the podcast, which he'll be launching soon. Andy's doing accounting stuff, but like of all the hires, and I'm not just saying this because she's family, like having Tess come on and help with the inbox management has been the biggest, like, where like it just gets done. Relief. And like I just instead of constantly checking all these messages all day long every day and like feeling like I have to respond to it whenever it comes in, is like I just know that's taken care of. And at the end of a day, if there's questions she didn't know how to answer, if she needs some input, it's all rolled up into one tight conversation that could be a text message or a voice note or a quick call that's like, hey, this person has a question about this. How do we answer this? And like, we just have such a good system now. And man, once those inboxes are not in your life anymore, it's like
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. And you know what's wild is like, I don't even miss it. Like, I don't even miss like being on Facebook. Like I'm actually not really a big fan of Facebook, but stuff like that. Like, it's just like, you shouldn't have to worry about that. And if that's one of the weights with this crazy growth, I would make that your next hire. That's my recommendation.
Good advice, man. Thank you.
Yeah, good rep.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
The one platform that I really like using is Patreon, and I just got approved today to make it. I'm allowed to now have team members join like in the back end, so people can post on my behalf, but they know it wasn't from me. Basically, they can, from Eric's team or from Jesse or from some other team members. So it's going to be great once I start offloading it. I think I've been pushing it. Like I know it's going to happen, but I like interacting with the collectors and the fans. And I know I can do that in a one-to-many fashion like this, where everybody can get their questions answered selectively. And then if everyone's happy, but yeah, like individual messages, they can suck up your day once it scales up. Like I can't imagine how many messages Baller's getting about this stuff, right? Like,
yeah,
Totally.
Yeah.
Even early on, like I was doing some live streams on Instagram that were not related to Project 2020 at all. And like all these baseball fans were coming in and asking questions about the cards. And I'm like, guys, like this stream isn't about that. They're just so passionate. It's great.
Yeah. That's awesome. All right, back to the Matt show.
Well, I'm just gonna say you're doing a great job. So don't beat yourself up if you can't respond to every single email or comment, because you're doing a great job.
Especially the people though that spend money on my site. Like I want to be able to answer them because they got questions about their order.
Yeah.
So obviously that doesn't have to be me every time though. It's more of a logistical question.
Yes, absolutely.
You missed the
Got-
part about the test.
Yes. All right. Another question. Any plans to collaborate with Blake in the studio or any other artists on Project 2020 cards?
No plans to collaborate on a card
Okay.
itself. Nothing solidified yet. We've talked about it, but
We can do a side card.
Side card?
okay, I like that. Yeah, we have talked about it.
So we have one of the newest team members, Nick, is researching, because I've seen a lot of the other artists doing companion cards. And while I think on some of the fronts, like autos, I was near the front of the pack of innovation or whatever, but the companion cards that other players or the other artists are doing are so cool. And so we have someone reaching out to different card production companies outside of Topps to produce other cards. And so like theoretically, if you came into the studio or I came into your studio or whatever, and we painted some kind of collaboration together, we could get that printed on a card. It just wouldn't be a Topps 2020 card. It'd be like a companion card, but that could be like a fun way to integrate that.
Yeah, I wanted to do some of that with my art, and I'm planning on it. Like some new art that's applied to the cards, but I haven't found the right manufacturer yet for it. I've been getting some prices and also trying to decide on the thickness and the stock and everything. A lot of little decisions to be made. The Project 2020 ones are so thick and premium, and I'm like, I almost want to stick with that, but I also know that it doesn't need to be that same product. Like it's not going to be exactly the same anyway. So
Definitely.
Well, I can tell you this, Nick has been getting quotes from a handful of different companies. I'm happy to share that with you. I love, I'm super transparent in terms of my business and what we're doing. So I will send you that all. It seems like we found some really good production companies, but until we order them, we don't know. So my plan is to order a small amount of cards from a few different manufacturers and just see what the quality is, because the quality needs to be good in my book.
So a small amount, like 10,000. No, I'm just kidding.
No. No. We're looking at like probably 1,000 on the low end. But once I find a manufacturer that I love, I'll order 50,000, 100,000 cards, and I'll just put them in all the packages as giveaways or something like that. So I think it's been super fun. Like I said, other artists doing the companion cards and inspiring me to like push for that, because otherwise I could just keep down the same path that I'm on, and it's doing well for us. Like we're definitely keeping busy and shipping a lot of stuff, but it's cool that like other artists are inspiring business decisions that I'm making, which I just love. Yeah.
For sure. And I am down to collaborate on a card. We just got to plan it out a little more. And, there's been some of your cards where I'm like, I just want to doodle all over your work.
Yeah. Well, dude, I would
add
actually
my lines.
And so that could be an interesting collab that we could explore. And don't quote us, guys, because we might not do this. But like, I have a bunch of extras of some of my cards, like my Jackie, for example. I'm actually pretty Jackie heavy. You know, I'd be happy to give you 20 or 30 Jackies on just to play with, and do it analog. You know, get out those paint pens. That could be a super fun way to collab.
Blake did the card. Efdot did the doodle.
And then you'd splatter paint on some of my cards.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, how sick would it be if you took, we took your Jackie, some extras of those, and I did a little bit of splatter Blakeify it card art, and then you took some of mine and you did your thing on it. Like that could be a cool companion set
for sure.
It would be. I feel like the people would love, but
yeah,
who knows?
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, back to Mad Times. I just had to chime in on that. Go for it.
What surprised you the most about the project?
I think besides the obvious level of passion from people, and I think what surprised me most, I think just like the ability to take it in so many different directions. Like Topps was so flexible with us. Like they really don't have too many restrictions for us. So
that's awesome.
With the autos and with the content and with everything. So I'm really happy that we were able to turn a project that had a scope into a much larger project that will take us through this year and perhaps into next year too. So
yeah.
I was gonna say, I think like thinking back to like when we started quarantine in March, like that's when Topps like kind of hit the ground running with this project. And I think that like when you think back to that, it was like, what are you going to do? Like, what's the style you're going to create? And like through this process, you've grown so much in your style with your cards. And then also at the same time with that, no one's making murals right now. They are making murals now because of just like the current political climate, which is great. Like people are sharing their voice on the streets, but like at the same time, like a lot of these projects weren't like coming to fruition.
The commercial murals.
Yeah, the commercial murals. And it was kind of like you like have given everything to this. And it's, I think, like become this really awesome thing that you've just like really enjoyed the process of, like, all day, every day Topps kind of thing in a way.
not all day.
No, but like a substantial part of your practice right now is just like this community, which is awesome. Like, I don't think you expected that when we started.
We've also been able to do a couple murals for the local businesses.
For sure.
Yeah.
But I think like you've like, I don't think you like realized what this would become.
Right. I don't draw portraits usually. And I'm still not really I tried a couple portraits. You want to see my Gwyn portrait that I didn't use?
Yeah, absolutely.
So bad. Oh man. So here's the photo that it was based on. Right. That's the Gwyn photo that was part of the card. Right.
Nice.
Let's see if I can find the
screenshots.
Yeah. No screenshots.
I think this is like the thing that ended up on eBay. Because it was in Patreon. Let's see if I can find it. I might have deleted it. It was so bad. Oh man. Oh wait, here it is. I think I found it.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. Missing a layer.
Great.
There you go. Here we go. This is so bad. Hold on, you can kind of see it. Actually, it doesn't look that bad on the camera, but
I mean, to me, that's really good. But I'm not a talented artist.
Be nice, as it says there in the corner.
I like it. I like it.
I don't know. I think like seeing that side by side with the photo version of it, it made me want to use the photo version. It didn't like Tony, but anyway, so I think that's been a challenge for me, is like working with portraiture and doing the card justice, because usually I like to make my things from scratch. I don't do magazine covers or anything where I have to work with photography that much. It's mostly just like paint and paper and canvas. And so like the challenge, like Jesse said, of growing my style to work with this medium has been interesting for sure.
Gotcha. Do you feel like you've become more comfortable like designing and painting and creating the cards as the project has progressed over, the past 5-6 months?
Oh yeah, for sure. And I have my process more dialed, and like I know what things I'm keeping consistent in the cards and what things I'm changing. And mostly the border is the thing that stays consistent, and I can like use that as a tool to hide things in as well. like on the bottom of this card, there's like the 15 all-stars. You can kind of see there.
Ah, nice.
So like this little Easter egg that can do with the border.
Oh, that's
And,
a good one.
Yeah, so I think it's gotten easier just because I've done a few under my belt. It's like anything. Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to ask you about one particular Easter egg on the on your Nolan Ryan card. In the bottom right corner, is that your character, the Blob, in there?
Yeah.
It is. Okay, I thought so. I just wanted to confirm with you, and
And he's wearing a cowboy hat.
he is. I thought so. That's awesome. That's so cool. Can you, just for people who aren't familiar with that character, can you just tell them kind of who that is and what that represents for you?
Yeah, there's like a piece behind us.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Has some blobs on it.
That's a great piece.
Yeah, so like I said, I started doing lettering in the beginning of my career, and I always use these bold, chunky letter forms in my work. And then after I broke my leg skateboarding, I made this whole series of illustrations about skateboarding, and I started to draw figures, and this figures kind of look like the letters, and then that just started developing it more and more, and it ended up turning into this blob. This is an enamel pin that I made with the blob. Nice. And it started out as just a sketch that I made on a really rough day, but it ended up just sticking with me, and I shared it, and people really gravitated towards it, and I just used it as a consistent thing throughout a lot of my work. And I thought about like putting it in every single card, but I also don't want to force it. I think putting this as like the main thing on the card like doesn't make sense for the card, but putting like the Willie Mays card has blob details and some lines. And so, thanks for asking, man. You're so curious. This is great.
Of course. Yeah. I love your work. I think it's fantastic. I actually just bought on your site during the stream one of your Optimist t-shirts, which is awesome.
Sweet. Thank you.
So cool.
And a melt print. So
which size did you get?
I got the biggest size. I think it's 18 by 24.
Yeah. And the purple one or the ice cream color?
Ice cream.
Yeah, good choice.
Thank you.
If you have it, I'll sign it for you because those come unsigned. But
I would love it. Thank you so much.
The Optimist shirt is a big was a big turning point for me as well. Like not the shirt, but the piece, like the lettering that I did for that.
Yeah, please.
So early in my career, I was doing lettering, and I had this crazy event happen in my life where I basically lost everything I owned to a fire. And one of the things that I found after the fire was a sketch for that design, and it said Optimist. So it was just like this moment for me where I realized like what's important and how I need to just like keep moving forward and creating and putting this positivity out into the world. And that's like, that really defined my philosophy. And it's still something I think about every day.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really powerful.
There's a little video about it on my site on the homepage, on efdotstudio.com if you guys want to check it out. And the Optimist shirts, and I made patches and stickers and everything for that campaign. That was also that was my first charity project where I got to involve art with a charity.
Wow.
And that was the Red Cross at that time. Yeah.
That's amazing.
And now you get to wear a piece of that story. And those shirts are cool also because most of my stuff, like I mentioned, the prints aren't signed. The reason they're not signed is because they come directly from my printing company. And they have a facility in California and North Carolina. Goes straight from there to you when someone orders it. But the t-shirts, I really wanted those to be pocket t-shirts because I just love the quality of them. And I couldn't find a place that does print on demand for pocket t-shirts. So I bought a ton of those. And so that company that does my prints, they warehouse them for me. But that's a special Efdot shirt that has my branding on the inside. It's not like a crappy print on demand shirt. Not that my prints are bad quality, but the print on demand stuff, obviously it's not as high quality as screen printing.
Sure.
So that one is like my favorite piece of apparel that I ever designed for sure. Just like you're going to love it. It's going to be your new favorite shirt.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Blake is saying that the shirt is extremely comfortable.
This turns into an ad for the shirt.
Yeah, right. I'm just
fashion model at this point.
I thought about turning the whole Optimist thing into like a whole clothing brand and doing it that way, but it didn't feel right at the time. Okay. Just like a side project for me.
Yeah. I understand that.
Who knows? Also, the word Optimist is trademarked. I don't own that.
How can someone trademark the word optimist?
Right.
Well, maybe they don't. Maybe it's not trademarked like by one company, but there's just a ton of other like if you Google the word Optimist, like I don't come up.
Got it.
You have to search Efdot Optimist to find it. So yeah, like it just would have been hard. I do own the domain optimist.nyc, and that takes you back to my site to learn about the project.
Nice.
So there's that, but I don't know. I never turned it into a full-fledged brand. Yeah.
Well, maybe someday.
It's a sub brand, you know.
It's a sub brand, exactly. We've got Efdot, and then we've got Optimist down here.
The funny thing about the Efdot brand is like whenever I say it on a podcast, like people don't know how to spell it. So if I say Efdot, they say like, okay, so it's letter F and then a dot, and then that's it. Because obviously, like the letter F.com is not available. Yeah. So
but that was your nickname.
That's your question.
Andy.
Let Andy go.
Excuse me, Andy.
needs to show us the awesome t-shirt.
We're bringing Andy in. Bringing Andy in to come ask one of the final questions of the night. Whenever, okay, ladies and gentlemen, Andy Choi, get in here, Andy.
What's up, guys?
Andy, I've seen you on some videos, but we haven't chatted.
Yeah. First of all, big fan. Love your work.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. I'm also an aspiring artist, kind of training under Blake. So hopefully,
He's great.
I'm on the come up.
He's
You'll
very
see me soon.
He's very talented.
You're learning from the best.
Yeah, exactly. So I actually had a question because this is a running joke here. So when I first saw your account, I was calling you Efdot. Has anyone ever called you that before? Or did I call you Efdot?
That's a good question.
Should we talk about the Mexico?
Yeah.
So we were painting in that mural in Mexico City, and someone came up. It was another American guy, but he just goes, "Are you Efdo?" Like the T was silent, and I thought we just use that sometimes for fun. So
But Efdot was Eric's nickname as a kid.
yeah, my mom can attest. I was like 3 years old, and people called me that. And then just like my interest in baseball was like in the background for a while. The Efdot name went away for a while, came back later. And yeah, I'm glad that I chose it because now when you Google it, I come up. Originally, it was just FDOT, but then I realized I was competing with the Florida Department of Transportation. Yeah, so I added the E back in there, and it made sense.
That was a good call.
Absolutely.
You got anything else?
I actually do have another question that I've been meaning to ask you. So I do some art on Procreate, and I was wondering the pixel resolution that you use. I'm not sure if you know that off the top of your head, but I don't know the right size in order to like if I wanted to make like a giant print of it, like how that works. I kind of wanted to pick your brain on that.
Sure. So the thing about Procreate, how it varies from Photoshop, is that if you were to work at a super high resolution size, it limits the number of layers you can use. So if you go to like 10,000 pixels, it only lets you have around like 12 layers.
Right.
So if you're doing something that's like really simple, that works fine. But if you need to do sometimes I'll start doing a baseball card at a really high resolution because I want to be able to get in there in the details and share close-ups of it. But then later I need more layers because I'm still experimenting. And so I'll end up like downsizing it and transferring all the layers over to a different file. So getting that size right is really important. I think like if you're doing a large print, keeping the size, as close to the 10,000 pixel area is good.
Okay.
And then you won't have any problems with resolution. But yeah, if you're doing something that's more like layered, then you might have trouble with Procreate and you might have to switch to Photoshop to finish it.
Okay. All right, cool.
The cool thing about Procreate is you can export it to Photoshop. So
Right. Yeah. I've done that before.
yeah.
All right, cool.
That's a great question.
Thanks. Yeah. Hopefully, there's other artists that got
And
you.
follow us on Muralists because we talk about technical stuff, including
The Muralist account, on Instagram.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, please.
For a minute, and then wow, it's getting
And then
late.
we'll head out. Yeah, that's it. That's it. We're calling it after that.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about it earlier. What
Yes.
can you add to that? I think the podcast.
is
Okay.
coming into-
Oh yeah, please plug it.
So in 2 weeks, we're launching our podcast it's called Extra Paint, but it's by the Muralists account.
Awesome.
And we're interviewing different mural artists from around the world, starting out with mostly friends because they're trusting me to do these interviews without a podcast to show for it.
Sure.
And then we'll be branching out, trying to interview more like big name artists and probably have some of the Project 2020 artists on eventually. Like even if they're not muralists, I think it would be cool to do an episode about that. anyway, because it's like I'm keeping the reason we're calling it the Extra Paint podcast instead of the Muralist podcast is because I do want to have the option to like expand it in the future and talk about more than just murals. But there is a huge gap in the market where no one's really teaching about the medium of murals, and yet like they're so popular these days, and street art is meeting graffiti, which is meeting commercial illustration, and there's just like so much happening in that world. And I decided that we would start this account and this podcast. So check out the Instagram at Muralists, and there's about 25 posts on there right now, and we try to really consider them little articles. Actually, like it's not just a photo with a small caption. Like we're doing the multiple photo carousels to like teach things or share things, and then like Jesse and I are writing like longer captions to really give value. And I'd love to be able to post there every day, but we'd rather post quality over quantity at this point. So it's like a few posts a week. Yeah,
that makes sense. That's awesome. All right, so Jesse, go ahead, please.
No. I was just saying it's a good time. It's fun. Like it's about creating community just like this.
Yeah,
we're stoked.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, so before we head out, once again.
I want to ask the final question.
Okay, so I'm just gonna go to tops.com and buy Efdots Gooden card. It is amazing. It's got the mask on there. It's phenomenal. Email Tony at BlakeJamieson.com for your chance to win an autographed Efdot Jackie Robinson card. And Blake, we will give you the final question of the night.
Here I come.
All right, here comes Blake. Eric, Jesse, pleasure talking to you both.
Nice talking to
Yeah.
you. So nice meeting
thanks
you.
a lot.
Likewise.
Bye.
All right, man. Thank you guys so much for spending so much time with us. I know we went long than I anticipated, but I'm really glad that we did, and I think the fans loved it. So I have a final question, and part of the reason of me shying away from becoming a full-time artist at younger in my life was because I didn't know what the long-term plan would be, because I didn't believe in that. So I'm still in this mindset where I don't really make 5-year plans, because I would have never guessed 5 years ago that I'd be sitting here today, and I just couldn't have even predicted it. So I'm curious, it'll be coming near the end of Project 2020. I want to talk 5 months out. What do you see in terms of let's just manifest this in the world, if everything went right for you and all these pieces fell into place, the Muralist stuff took off, the podcast took off, everything. Where do you see yourself in 5 months? So we're looking at November, December, end of this project. Is there anything that you think, moonshot, where you want to be?
One thing I really want to do in 2021 is to plan out some kind of experience or event, call it a gallery show, call it whatever. I don't need a gallery. I can do it with help that I bring in. But I want to do something with interactive murals that brings people together.
I love that.
Into a space. And obviously we got to be safe about that and see if it's actually the right time to do that. But
sure,
that's my goal. I love in-person events, and I've been missing them a lot. And so I'd like to do something where I can create murals either live in a space for people, or just an immersive environment where I feel like I have control over the experience. May have skateboarding involved. It may be art and maybe something with my brother, but the idea of just renting out a space that's ground level in New York and just going crazy and doing something awesome. And who knows, maybe it could even become a traveling exhibition. And there's a few things that I've been looking at, like Color Factory. They do some cool stuff like that.
Color Factory is sick.
Yeah. So creating my own little version of that, of what does an Efdot experience look like in person? And then obviously just doing more collaborative murals with Jesse, and just getting the art on bigger walls. I'd love to do the whole facade of a building. Haven't done that yet. Many stories tall. So
Shepard Fairey style.
What's that?
Shepard Fairey style.
Yeah.
He's got some sick spots. That's awesome, man. I love it. And I'll tell you, I've got a big 5-month plan, but one of the elements of it, you reminded me when you said it could be a traveling show, is I want to deck out a Sprinter van as a mobile studio.
Yeah.
And I want to paint the outside of it, or design something and then have it wrapped. And then the inside is all just a very compact studio. And eventually when the world is back to normal, I want to take that you know, whether it's down the East Coast or across the country, and do like a road trip where I stop at different baseball games, tailgate, paint live,
Love
go to
it.
the game.
Fun.
So same kind of page, man. Traveling art show, I think, is great. Love that for a 5-month plan.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah. Well, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Just want to remind you a final time, link down below this video. You've got now 13 hours left to buy Efdots Gooden. It's a very iconic card. I think that, you know, when we all look back at Project 2020 and we look at, you know, some of the cards that people really think about encapsulate the project and the art and this like energy that we're all experiencing right now, I think that Gooden card is going to be part of it. I'm so appreciative for everything that you're doing in terms of the art, and then also raising consciousness and awareness about, you know, wearing the mask situation. And, you know, even here within the office, we've had some internal discussions because I want to be a good role model as well. And so like, I think we might start even wearing masks in here. Like, I don't know if it's tough on the stream to like wear it and be talking and people understanding what we're saying, but I'm so grateful for what you're doing within the project and within like, you know, the greater kind of, you know, impact, social impact that you can have with your art. It's so great.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. And once we get to collaborate more, I'm sure we'll come up with even better ideas. So.
Absolutely, man. Well, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget, buy the card. Email Tony@BlakeJamieson.com. Do you want to say anything else before I sign us off?
No, thank you guys.
Okay, great. All right, guys.
See you soon, all
Thank
right?
you, everybody.
Good night.
Love you all. Thank you guys so much. And
Good night, everybody.
stay awesome.
See you, Eric. See you, Jess.
See ya.
Mhm.